Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Coach Red, where we bring you all the news, stories, takes, and opinions about your favorite teams from the Pacific Northwest, from the good to the bad to the Mariners.
Sweet, sweet Mariners, baby. It's time.
I find myself doing something that I have sworn off my entire life, buying into some spring training stuff that I'm hearing, and I don't like it at all.
You know what my favorite thing out of spring training has been? Julio saying he had a slump year.
He had a bad year. He looked to improve. That's not my favorite thing that's come out of spring training.
That's one of mine.
Mine is Camera Crew is back to make more Mariners commercials. Whoop whoop. Let's go. That's what I'm excited for. They're the best.
Yes, yes, they are.
God, we should have just made this episode ranking the top Mariners commercials, but guess what? We didn't do that. But this is
Thank
going
it
to be
for
a Mariners
later.
episode for you. And before we hop into it, why don't I tell you a little bit about us? If you're looking for someone who is very creative, I think that you're going to be razzled, dazzled, wowed, and powed. If you're looking for a guy like that, you're looking for a guy like me, your boy Coach Red. You can find me on X at the real Coach Red, on Instagram at the real underscore Coach Red, TikTok at the real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, leave a comment or two. And if you're looking for a guy that needs a little direction in this episode, maybe a little E40 in this episode, because he needs someone to tell him when to go. If you're looking for a guy like that, you're looking for a guy like Cain.
Yep, that's me. You can find me over on Twitter at Kane2406, on YouTube at Kane06, TikTok Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Follow us, follow us, follow us. Just do it, freaking do it.
So the idea for this started out as making catchphrases for some of the Mariners. The idea changed drastically throughout the week because making catchphrases is kind of hard. So
It
we
is.
morphed it into a little bit of fun ideas that may or may never happen. Some catchphrases, some walk up songs. Just it's a grab bag of fun ideas, I think.
Yeah.
I think that you guys will enjoy at least 7 of them because that's how many I have.
I
Kidding. You'll also like some of Kane's.
I think so. I tried. All right. I really tried. I think some of these are nails and just really funny. All right.
Okay, I'll lead this thing off. So the first guy I'm going to talk about is Dom Canzone. We all know he's got the little hand gesture when he does something good, rocks that double, no fly zone. We all know about that. But I want to lean further into the Italian roots. Every home run, what I want to have is a video clip up on there. They could throw some animations and stuff, but I want like Emeril Lagasse, like let's talk about like real hardcore Italians, right? Bam! That's a spicy meatball for every homer that he hits. And you just and as the season goes on, there's a big plate of spaghetti at home, and you just keep adding meatballs to the spaghetti. And they're gonna be
That would be
fire.
sick.
It's gonna be a fire spaghetti and meatballs dish brought to you courtesy of Dom Canzone because I don't want him to
That's
stop
great.
the hand movement. It's too good. I mean, he started that. I couldn't give him that already, so let's take it a step further.
I
Let's
like
get
it.
weird. Let's get wild. Let's get spicy and give me some extra meatballs and maybe throw a little sauce on it. Maybe a little garv sauce, if you will.
Ooh.
Boom. That's a quick lead into my next one, which is a duo. Is a duo thing, and it is Mitch Garver and Jorge Polanco. So reports came out today during a Mitch Garver interview where he was talking about Jorge Blanco. He said a handful of things in that, like he speaks extremely good English. He's terrible at Call of Duty. But the thing that caught my eye is Mitch Garver calls Jorge Polanco Harry Potter because he's a wizard with the bat. All right, here's my idea. We're going to lean into a little bit of wizardry. And I have a sinking suspicion that these guys are going to be hitting very close to each other in the order, maybe back to
Yes.
back for
Most likely.
chunk of this year, if healthy. What I want to see on that video board, Jorge Polanco, I think, bats in front of Mitch Garver
Yes.
in any scenario you look at, right?
Yes.
So if I got Jorge Polanco on and Mitch Garver gets a hit, what I want to see up on that board is both of them hopping on their Nimbus 3000s like they're in a game of Quidditch, just zooming around to the bases they're on. Like, how dope would that be? I mean, we're probably gonna run into some copyright infringement there. We're gonna have to. I know that the ownership group is not willing to spend on free agents, so I doubt they're gonna cut a check to J.K. Rowling. But this would be a fun idea. It plays off of their relationship that they've built from playing together with the twins.
Yeah.
I think it is a fun idea because you sometimes have those things when the bases start moving, but specific to these two, when they're getting each other around the base pass, well, while Mitch is getting Jorge around the base pass, you just see him falling, and they can have different colors. I don't know. I would say that Polanco reminds me a little bit of a Ravenclaw, and I would say that Garver is definitely a Hufflepuff.
Ah, got him. All right. All
Got,
right. So
got him.
I'm gonna jump into my one.
Okay.
So we're gonna start off with JP Crawford here. And it's gonna be a walk-up song for him. And I believe it should be Electric Avenue. For the sole reason is he's what starts the whole electric factory, right? What they call the entire Mariners team, the electric factory, right? He is always the base.
That's the feel at T-Mobile.
Right. And
He's the
that
generator.
is the guy who sparks it. Let's go back to when Mitch hit that walk off and JP, or not walk off, to take the lead from the Angels. I believe it was trying to get into the playoffs. And JP is rounding third, and the energy after he scored sparked something new in this team. And he has always been at the forefront of every big play for this team. Electric Avenue, give it to me, JP.
Yeah, I would love that because it is just a fun song too. It gets you bouncing around in your seat a little bit.
Exactly.
Oh, it's good. I was really surprised when they brought it out in Pineapple Express. Loved it in that movie. This is a good little nugget there. So hey, if you haven't watched in a while, go check out Pineapple Express if you love the song Electric Avenue.
Yes.
All right, you ready for my next one?
Yes.
The next one is Julio Rodriguez, and you kind of had an idea about Julio, something for some of the base stealing, right?
Yeah.
That's what you were thinking. You wanted to go somewhere that I didn't think was very relatable to Julio Rodriguez.
It's true.
I went somewhere that I think was a little bit more relatable. It's going to be one of the biggest franchise movies. It's got a ton of sequels. I mean, it's right up there. It's not Saw. I know you're thinking it. It's not. It's the Fast
No.
and the Furious. I think that Vin Diesel needs a new sidekick, and I think that you put Vin Diesel picture up there with Julio Rodriguez, but you harken back to the second one, Too Fast, Too Furious, because I think that's what Julio Rodriguez is. The ferocity that he brings to the game is crazy, and I think that his speed is something that we weren't anticipating with him coming in the league, but coming off a 30-30 season, 30 homers, 30 stolen bases. I expect him to get ratcheted down at some point on their base stealing attempts, but I don't think we're anywhere close to it. I think that we're still a few years away. So when he swipes that bag, I want to see him and Vin Diesel on the screen, and I want Ludacris's Too Fast, Too Furious. I'm too fast for y'all, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That,
All right.
See, I think that plays a little bit better than Grease, a movie
Yeah.
that I don't even think you could explain the whole plot to start to
Yeah.
finish.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
It's
right.
okay. It's okay. We'll just hear your
I
next.
got smart about it, just didn't do it. Like,
Yeah. What's your next idea?
all right, my next idea is for Ty France. We all know that I have some love for Ty France, but uh, this would be a home run call slash thing over the PA announcer thing. Aaron Goldschmidt calling it in the booth, but the rare occasion he's going to hit one, and then most of them are going to be at home. It's proven, right? You're going to go Viva, Viva La France to deal with like his nickname. I think it would go well, and the fans would go, they would sing it with everybody. It would just be a great experience.
I got something else that I think that the Mariners should do. And this one, they don't even have to worry about copyright infringement. So it's been pretty well documented that Ty France hit up Driveline this offseason, and you're seeing some of the results in some of his BP stuff. I think he came out and said that his bat MPH coming through the zone last year was about 3.5 miles an hour lower than it should have been. And a lot of people are giving guff to the Mariners staff for not noticing it and trying to help make those changes in season. But with Driveline, it's something that we've all come to love and adore thanks to the likes of JP Crawford having a breakout season last year after a full season at Driveline.
Mm-hmm.
But Ty France was getting interviewed today, and when he was getting his initial testing and everything done at Driveline, they're putting all the nodules on his body for the testing. He goes, yeah, I just thought this was like for their internal use so they could, break this stuff down. I didn't think they were going to post it. So after he got that first one, Driveline puts it up and he gets a text from his wife saying, you in your underwear is all over the internet right now. So I want the Mariners to create an athletic underwear line with Ty France as your model. It's like Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, but it's Ty France's underpants. Oh, I just came up with the last part right now. Ty France's underpants.
I like it. I like it. There you go.
God, I had a good idea. It gets better sometimes. All right, you ready for my next idea?
Yes.
I knew Ty France's underpants. I'm gonna try and make this a thing. Ty France, have your people reach out to my people. My people is me. All right, my next guy that I want to do something fun with. This one, when I talked about there are some unreasonable things that we're going to be talking about in this episode. Welcome to Matt Brash, because what I've got is out there.
Oh.
Matt Brash is from the Great White North. We know this.
Yes.
He's most likely going to be your biggest pivot guy. He's going to be a guy that kind of saves the day, kind of like a police officer. They don't have police officers.
They got Mounties.
They got Mounties. So when he comes in, I want him right before he goes in, I want him to take a little swig of some maple syrup, and I want to hop on a GD Moose. I want the Mariner Moose to get out there and give Ty France a ride to the mound. Or not Ty France, Matt Brash, a ride to the mound. I didn't even think about the Mariner Moose in this. I was just trying to get a live moose in the stadium, which I knew was going to be a no-no, but I think we might be able to make this work with the Mariner Moose.
It would work so well.
I also had another idea, because sometimes you got to do some cleanup, some street sweeping, but then I realized that his pitch is more of a slider, not a sweeper. So I pivoted from that, just like he's your pivot guy in the bullpen, and went right to the Mountie aspect. And God, if he could ride the Mariner Moose to the dugout or to the mound one time. Yeah, I think it would be amazing.
It would be fantastic. All right. So my third guy is Brian Wu. When he gets a strikeout, I want the PA system to go, woohoo! Big Summer strikeout. That would be amazing. It's a great play on his name. And super relevant, because who doesn't like Frozen?
Yeah, what part of the movie is that in?
That's the first one.
I'm aware.
Yeah, it's like when they're going up the mountain.
Yep. So Elsa turns it from summer to winter,
Yes.
and the guy's trying to sell all of his summer gear, and now he has a big blow up because guess what? It's winter now. I believe he's Scandinavian,
Yes.
but yeah,
Yes.
I really like that play.
Yeah. I think it would be fantastic. What's your next one, coach?
My next one is Bryce Miller, and this one can be a little bit more subtle. And I'm gonna take you back to my playing days to have a story that I think relates to this really well. So, uh, playing summer baseball after my senior year, playing on a team that ended up going to the Babe Ruth World Series and took third nationally. But we had a couple of guys that came up for the summer that were out of Missouri. They couldn't play on any of the state regionals, national teams, but they were just trying to get extra work after their first year in college. They were young enough to play on our team, and they just did work around the field. So we had a guy that was one of our catchers that was NWAC offensive MVP, but he didn't show up all the time. So I'm a shortstop by trade, but I caught a lot that summer. And even when our NWAC offensive MVP catcher was there, one of the guys from Missouri, he didn't love catching. This guy was a really cool guy, and we ended up making up something. So him being a little Southern boy, um, the first guy he struck out, he audibly said that I could hear it behind the dish. Sit down, boy. I called timeout, went there, and I go, hey, we we're north of the Mason Dixon line, buddy. We can't do that. So here's what we're gonna do. You whisper on your breath. I'll see it, and I'll give you like a glove down acknowledgement as a sit down boy. With Bryce Miller, I want him to do something similar. What I want him to do after he gets a strikeout is find just a nice lady out in the stands somewhere, different one every time, and I want him to mouth, "Who wants a mustache ride?" Because he has a sick stash. When we're talking about good
Hey,
stashes,
you
it's
know, when we were talking about, facial hair in the last episode, Bryce Miller has everybody beat.
yeah, he's
Oh
got
man.
that mustache is glorious.
Legend. Wait for it. Dairy.
Yep. Who wants a mustache ride? Just
I
lip
like
it to
it.
someone in the stands every strikeout. God, that'd be so fun. He's already a fun loving guy. I also saw he posted something, I believe it was a week or two ago, where it was him taking some hacks and looking like he's putting it over the fence. And he goes, "Someone show this to Skip. I want to get some at bats during the season." So fun guy in Bryce Miller. I think that with him being with the team, hopefully this whole year, barring any injuries or anything like that, I think he's going to become a fan favorite.
Mhm.
And with the revolutions on that fastball and how unhittable it can be at times, he's just really got to dial in his work against lefties. But I think this guy could have a bang up season this year. And really,
Yes.
I wish that he was eligible for rookie of the year because I think he could make a push for it this year, starting with the big club from the
I
jump.
agree. I agree.
All right,
But
Kane,
I'm going to
what's your
talk
last?
about, I would say, number 3 on the fan favorite list. I think it would go Julio. He's number 1, and then JP. He's number 2. Think, and then it's Cal Raleigh.
I think that you just have a good core because you also got to throw Mitch Haniger back in there.
Well, right. That is tough.
Everyone's loving themselves some George Kirby,
That's true. That is true. I don't know,
but
but
everyone loves Cal.
everybody does love Cal, and we all love Cal so much. We all love his nickname, Big Dumper. I have a shirt from Coach Red. It says Big Dumper on it. I love
I
it.
I actually for all of the permanent hosts that we've had, they've both gotten a big dumper shirt for me. So if you want to become a permanent host, you might get a big dumper shirt.
It's a great shirt. But this is a home run call. When he smacks 35 dingers out this year or more, I want to hear, who are you gonna call? Big Dumper.
You want to know who would just slay that?
Who?
Goldie. Goldie
Yes.
would kill that. I
Yes.
don't know if that would differ a lot from hey now, hey now, hey now in The Sims.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Goldie can mix it up. But if he made that his repertoire, oh man, that would be so sick.
Do you know what's crazy? Twitter loves Dave Sims. Twitter absolutely loves Dave Sims.
Good for them.
Dude, I know. All right. Get doing it.
I can tolerate him at times, but he
Not
wears on
every
me.
day.
He
Not every
wears on
day.
me.
All right, coach.
Take it home. I'll take it home. I got two more guys that I'm going to talk about. First guy that I want to bring up is George Kirby. And this is another thing. Playing on a lot of things that are coming out during spring training. So George Kirby was asked about his off-season routine, and he says he does not throw to a catcher at all during the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
He's got one of the nets that has 9 different spots where it's got the little pockets so he can work on pitch placement. When he's doing that, he's rocking EDM, dubstep type music, right? And
Yeah.
that's just something I did not expect at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right.
But he's of that generation, man.
Yeah. So it was a little surprising, but I want to do something that I think would be really sweet where at his home starts, you open the pen up a little bit earlier and you hand out some glow sticks and all pregame coming out of the pen because they've got DJs and stuff set up there. It's just EDM, dubstep. They need to pump it in when he's throwing his pen. You know, really get that thing juiced because it'll apparently in the off season it helps him get him locked
Mm-hmm.
in, and I'd like to see him do that in this. I think it would be really cool.
That would be a great idea. And I'm pretty sure he would come out jazzed.
Oh yeah, and then make like a cool nickname for him, like a DJ nickname.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you'd want to go with like something like a play on Curious George dubstep or something like that, or if you'd want to do something to deal with like Kirby, the star sucker. That's a
Uh
terrible way to say. That's
it's
terrible.
Kirby from Kirby's Dream Land.
Yeah, that's what
The
I was getting at.
Nintendo property. Kirby. The guy from Smash.
Yes, well, I'm aware who Kirby is. I've played the games, and my favorite player to play in Super Smash Brothers is Kirby. And guess who is part ownership of the Mariners? Nintendo. You could potentially get that signed over, but that would be a sweet little crossover there. But really, just make it like a rave every home start out in the pen area
Yes.
till first pitch.
Yes. That'd be sick.
All right, my last one is Mitch Haniger. And
Oh.
with Mitch, you had talked about some of the fan favorites. Mitch has a special place, and I think a lot of our hearts. We've talked about it in the past, just the passion that he played with for this team, his ability to change the game before Julio was really what Julio is now, even after coming off a down year, in his opinion. But Mitch Haniger single-handedly won games. He was the most feared hitter on this team, even when Julio got hot. And I think that we all missed Mitch Haniger.
Yes. Yes, we
So
did.
what
It,
I
it just
want,
felt like
I,
a part of the team died.
and he's back. We know it. And you only get your walkout songs at home.
It's true.
I want him to take a little sampling from famous artists out of the Motor City. And I want a little tweak on it. It's my boy Eminem. Guess who's back, 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 back again, again, again. Mitch is back, back, back. Tell a friend, friend, friend. Guess who's back? 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 You know, mix that
Yeah.
up. Oh, dude, his first at bat, he's already gonna get a standing
Legendary.
O. The place would lose their GD mind. This could get to a point where everyone's singing it like they did with Jared Kelnick when he changed to Country Roads last year. Like I was at those games and it went on well after the song stopped. And I think you could get that
Yeah.
with Mitch on this because I'm stoked that he's back. If we can get 80 games out of him, if we can get half a season, I'm super stoked about it. But
Yes.
I think that you have the ability with the likes of Adam Canzone. You do have Luke Rayleigh in the outfield mix. You also have guys that are very close to the big league club that can be that guy. You've got the likes of Sam Haggerty. You've got Tatram. You've got Cade Marlowe. And I think Cade
Yes.
Marlowe is a little slept on for this team. And I think that he's going to be a guy that really gets a shot. And talk about another fun personality. We've talked about him in the past and his past of playing with the Savannah Bananas and how fun they make the game. And I think that one thing we can all see, this is still a relatively young team. They brought in a couple
Mhm.
veterans, but a lot of these guys are still under 30 for this team. And I think they are a lovable group. They're the I hear a lot of people talk about this that can't do baseball anymore. They were Mariners fans. They just can't get into it. It's been too many years of this. Born and bred into being a Mariners fan, and
Yeah.
I just can't quit them, right? So
You're talking about dad.
no, I'm talking about coworkers. I'm talking
I
about
know.
customers that I talk to. There's a bunch
I
of people that
know.
I just can't get into it. Season's super long, and what have they done? They made the playoffs once in the last 20 years. But I think that the cast of characters and the personas and the
Yeah.
fans that have really built them up when you've got, like you said, some of these alter ego. You've got or Logan Gilbert, Walter. Walter is when he's pitching, it's his alter ego. You've
Yep.
got Julio. You've got Big Dumper. You got Ty France, who's a fan favorite. JP, who brings all the energy. You've got Kirby, who's out there just wheeling and dealing in his first or second full season with the squad. Then you throw in the likes of Luis Castillo, who is nails in clutch time. You
Yes.
look in the bullpen. We love Matt Brash. We know what we're getting out of Munoz. Sauce bringing the local connection.
Yeah.
And you also throw in Spire, who is thank you, Kansas City Royals, for DFAing him to give us a high leverage lefty, you know? And that's the thing about baseball is it's so regional. I know that you have a bigger grasp on the whole league as out
That's
there,
true.
and I don't because baseball is something that it's tough to get into, but when you have your local team, I will either be at a game or have the game on or be constantly looking at my phone on Fubu just to just catch part of that game. And while I'm working, while I'm on vacation, there's times I put it on the radio. And the Mariners have done something that hadn't been done for a while. Got me excited about Mariners baseball. And yes, there have been some frustrations. There have been constraints that there have been fan favorites that have been traded away. There have been fan favorites that have been left to walk. But this team is a fun team.
Yes.
And I think that they're about as close. I think you would probably look at the Reds, the
Yeah.
Mariners, and the Orioles kind of as America's teams right now. Like if your team's out of the running, those are teams that you want to see succeed because they do
Bandwagon
have an
fans. Yeah.
infusion of youth. They have they have young players that are playing at an extremely high level. And that's
Yes.
fun.
A
And
big shout out to Julio being ranked number 10 for this year or this season out of 100 players.
well,
That's
more than
sick.
that.
Well, right, but it's the MLB Network's top 100 list of 2024. Super stoked to see Julio there, and you kind of touched on it. It's it's a fun team, but the personality, man, there is so much going on, and to big shouts to Hollander and Diapoto because with what they had to deal with, they tried. And personally, I think this team is better opening day than it was last year. Because the only real impact that they added last year was Teo. Loved Teo. Loved him. He was great. Pollock didn't do great, got shipped out. The other two got DFA. So,
I can make the argument that last year's team was better opening day because you have Robbie Ray and you've got the youngness in your pitching staff. I think your bullpen was a little bit better last year at the start than it is currently constructed because you knew what you were getting in Seawald with Gregory
right.
Santos starting a little bit late, Munoz having even in his reliever of the month campaign for like the month of August, it was still kind of up and down throughout that. And you had Teo, who's a former Silver Slugger, and you had Gino coming off a career year. And right now you've got Luke Rayleigh coming off a career year, but not a lot of track record. You've got Dom Canzone, I think that we're pretty high on, but still needs to prove it a little bit more. Oft injured Mitch Haniger, your third base thing. I like Rojas's stick. I don't love his glove at third base. Luis Urias is banged up to start the year, but you include Polanco. I think that helps. I think having the full-time DH with Mitch Garver helps.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you plugged up some holes, but I think you're playing a little bit on a razor's edge with
Well, of
injury
course.
concerns with
Of
with
course.
with the guys that they did bring in.
Just for me, I just see this team offensively better. And I think that they're gonna play their cards right with the platoons. And I think it's all gonna work out in the end.
Well, we all hope. And the one thing that I will say, even with the two sophomore guys at the back end of your rotation, Kirby's going into year 3 and Logan Gilbert's going into year 4. It's wild to think that the staff that we have, it's a top 5 rotation in baseball.
Yes.
I,
Yes, it is.
it could potentially be a top 3, and especially if you see a progression like you saw with Kirby and Gilbert after their first year into their second full season. If you can see even half of that jump with Wu and Miller, no team is going to want to face any of these starters. The stuff
No,
is just off the charts, and when you get into the bullpen, I think you sent me something today. Trevor May says one of the best pitches of baseball is Matt Brash's slider. Munoz
yeah.
has a pretty filthy slider and pops it a hundo.
It's not Matt
Santos,
Brash's. It's not Brash's. I mean, the only instance that you need to know that Matt Brash's slider is his greatest pitch ever is when he struck out Jose Ramirez at home and put him on his ass.
yeah, I know I was there. It was awesome.
It was one of the greatest things I have ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, they've got guys that have stuff and
Yeah.
it's across the board. And I think the one thing is you have a little bit more balance too. I felt like last year was pretty heavy on we need to put the ball out of the ballpark and contact wasn't always the biggest thing. I think that there were a few guys that did a pretty good job on increasing their on base percentage with controlling the zone a little bit more, but there was still a lot of swing and miss with that team. And I think with the additions of Garver and Polanco specifically, you lost quite a bit of the big swing and miss with those guys. I like Rojas. I think that he's a pretty good contact guy in my
Yes.
opinion. And
Yes.
Rayleigh had a breakout year. He's still going to have swing and miss. He's going to be your Teo, where he's going to be hot and he's going to be cold. He's going to be yes and he's going to be no. But I think with Mitch, you know what he can do at T-Mobile. He's proven it, and I think that if he can stay right, that's going to be one of the linchpins that really gears this team and
Mm-hmm.
really puts where their trajectory is going to be come the end of the season.
Well, and then, as we mentioned earlier with Julio, right? He said last year was a slump year. Whatever. Let's see him take the next step again to continue what he's doing. Let's hit 295. Let's hit more than 30 bombs this year. I think he's going to come out with such fierce determination to.
Is he going to be fast? Is he going to be furious?
Yeah.
That's a callback to something I said earlier in the episode.
But I really think he's gonna come out like a bat out of hell, basically, and he's going to put the Mariners on notice, like put them on the map and say, "Hey, we're here and we're gonna be here." So, all right,
I want to put the listeners on notice.
that's right.
We need more interaction on social media. So we need you to take action. and go give us some follows. You can find me, your boy, Coach Red, on X at the Real Coach Red, on Instagram at the Real _ Coach Red, TikTok at the Real Coach Red. Also, find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, leave a comment or two. And if you didn't subscribe the first time, smash the subscribe button. Kane, where you at?
You can find me over on Twitter at Kane2406, on YouTube at Kane06, TikTok Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Follow us. Do it, freaking do it.
And as always, stay fresh.
Stay fresh, peeps.
Peace.